Hey, Disney cruisers, and welcome back to the DCL community where we are here to help you plan, prepare for, and get excited for your Disney cruise. You guys know me, I'm Rebecca, your host and admin of the DCL community. And today, I know I say it whenever we talk about this topic, but can you hear the bells? Can you hear the bells? Because we're talking all things weddings today. I am so excited to have the first ever round of applause, please. First ever Disney Treasure Bride. Hunter, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself as people are coming in, and we can kind of get into everything fun from there?
Yeah, of course. You can skip this slide.
Beautiful.
So my name is Hunter. I am a travel advisor with Jayco Travel. I have been selling travel for 10 years now. And my favorite vacations to go on and plan are Disney cruises. I've been on all the ships, 20 cruises more on the books. And it's just, I have a true passion for Disney cruising. And I love everything from the crew members to the private destinations, the character interactions, the stage shows, and everything in between. I think it's the perfect mix of Disney, that amazing customer service and magic, plus a little bit of beach and relaxation, which I'm a snob for too.
Yes, I was going to say that. Perfect balance, perfect vacation.
Yeah, of course. So these are just a few ways to contact me. We will put this slide deck in the group after this and also in the comments, and those links are clickable. The best way to get a hold of me is always email hunter@jcotravel.com. That is the fastest way to get a hold of me because I'm constantly in that inbox and it won't get missed.
Yes.
So my specialties in the Disney Cruise Line realm are definitely family travel, with my kiddos, allergy travel because we navigate that, like pros, accessible travel, concierge staterooms, and of course Disney Cruise Line weddings. I just have a special passion for celebrating love and helping brides, helping grooms plan their Disney fairy tale weddings. And I've had the joy of helping several couples make their magical moments at sea come to life. And most recently, like Rebecca said, I was the first Disney Cruise Line bride on the Disney Treasure. We had a 10-year vow renewal ceremony in the Grand Hall of the Disney Treasure just last week.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
And I actually have a bride this week on board too.
Oh my gosh, it's just wedding season on board, which I love. And it can be wedding season any time of year on a Disney cruise. But as we're going through, you guys, please let us know about any questions. Hunter we're going to be sharing about her experience on board. We've done a pretty in-depth FAQ on weddings and getting on board as well. But if you are ready to start planning, I don't know if you know this, but her planning services are actually free for you to utilize. And she knows firsthand how important it is when you're planning a wedding. It's not just the couple, it's parents and in-laws and your best friends, and it's coordinating everybody, it's dining. There's a lot of pieces to that puzzle, so let her help you so that you can just focus on enjoying all the good stuff on board.
I should just let Rebecca keep talking.
Look
Like,
at can we
doing a
take
great
a
job.
second for this picture? Are you kidding me? So pretty.
Thank you. So, like I said, I worked with numerous brides and grooms to plan destination weddings on various ships, different venues, including the Grand Hall or the Atrium on the classic ships, Outlook, Castaway Cay, like all of the places. And I can't get sick of it. I love planning weddings. I love helping anybody with any Disney cruise, but weddings are just hold a special place in my heart. So as somebody who's gone through wedding planning herself, I know that your wedding is one of the most important days of your life, and that comes with a lot of stress. Don't let having to help all of your guests plan their cruise fall on your plate too. Like that's where we come in, and that's one of the most beneficial things for our brides and our grooms is that they're worried about their wedding, the elements that they're going to choose. They don't want to be having to answer all of grandma's questions about what she needs to have to get on the ship. So we work one-on-one with all of the family members, so you don't have to do that. But yeah, so I want your perfect day to be as stress-free as possible and help you turn your cruise into the beautiful wedding that you've been dreaming about, because there are some elements that you have to choose during the planning process that bring your big day to life. So I want to be a part of your big day.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And we have a question here. Does Disney provide a wedding planner on board?
They do. So with that being said, I'll definitely go more into this. Currently on the treasurer, her name is Kathleen, and she was wonderful. But keep in mind, you have one meeting with her on embarkation day, and then the only thing she really does after that is get your outfit steamed. So she takes your dresses or suits to get steamed and brings them back to the room. They send a little invitation to all of your guest rooms with the time they need to be in the wedding location. And then they come to get you to walk you to the location. Other than that, she doesn't really do anything for you. So it's not like having somebody there designated to getting you and your stuff from point A to point B all the time. But they do have a wedding coordinator on board. And she was fantastic. It's just that I don't want somebody to think that they're doing all of the pieces like they would be at home. It's a little bit more hands off. There's not a lot for them to do. There's also a shoreside coordinator that I work with and that you will also work with to do your wedding packets. You don't really communicate with them until about 45 days before, but there is somebody shoreside to answer questions as needed. But if you're working with me, you'll have one-on-one contact with me and I'll answer all of your questions for you. There's not really a lot for the shoreside coordinator to do other than collect the packet and collect payment for any additional like premium upgrades that you may choose.
Yes. And if you're wondering what's all actually included in the wedding and what those premium upgrades are, I'm going to leave a link to the event that we did previously. But the easiest thing to do, honestly, is just reach out to Hunter, get on her calendar and talk through what that perfect day looks like for you. And then she can back into the ship itinerary, all that good stuff, and what that recommendation would look like for your special day on board or next way. But yeah, the onboard person is great and helpful once you're on board, but it's all the like, could you imagine just showing up to your wedding the day before and being like, okay, it's nice to meet you. All that stuff, that is where Hunter just excels.
Yeah, and you don't get to talk to the onboard coordinator before. So that can be a little frustrating for brides if they don't know what to expect, but good news is I know what to expect. I can walk you through all of it. So I can ease your worries there. So where to start? So number one is contact me. We'll brainstorm the time of year that you want to travel for your destination wedding. A lot of different factors can go into play here. Do you want to avoid hurricane season? Do you have a lot of kids traveling? Do you need to avoid, go on school breaks? Are you wanting to go on a certain ship out of a certain port? All of these things we got to collaborate about. We will decide what length is the best for you. We did a 7-night. Lots of families aren't going to want to do that. So our most popular is a 3-night on the Wish, just to be honest. Like that's what so many brides are doing because it's easiest for families to get away. And then once we hone in on all of your details and what you're looking for, I send a formal proposal. You review the wedding proposal and lock in your stateroom and wedding. So you lock in your stateroom first, that 20% deposit, unless you're booking during that 10% promo period or on a placeholder, then 10%, but 20% deposit on the room. As soon as your room is locked in, we can call and add the ceremony. It will actually go on the same confirmation. So let's say your room is $7,000. You pay the 20% deposit, you add the wedding ceremony, and you're in the grand hall, so it's $5,000. You're going to see it on the same exact confirmation, but it's not going to be broken out. It's just going to say passenger 1, passenger 2, and it's going to say 12,000. It doesn't really say like wedding 5,000. So that's like the quick rundown of how this all works. But of course, you can schedule a call with me to get started. We will drop that link, of course, or you can just email me and I can send you my calendar link.
Yes, I'm so excited. And before you get into these questions, someone's asking, can you make payments or is it all due at once after the deposit? What's the timing like with payments?
Yeah, you can absolutely make payments. So it's just like any other Disney Cruise Line vacation. And if you aren't aware, I'll just go into that really quickly. Once your deposit is paid, that 20%, you have until final payment to make payments however you wish. At least working with me, you can make them however you want. Some people choose to make them monthly. Some people just say, hey, Hunter, I want to make a lump sum payment here, like randomly. And some people pay it all at the end. I don't care how you pay it. Final payment is going to depend on the length of your sailing. So 5-night and shorter, it's 90 days before. 7 nights and longer, or 6 nights and longer, it's 120 days before. However, with that said, Disney Cruise Line weddings are able to book their activities. So like the couple is able to book their onboard activities and port excursions before most people can. It's like right after that concierge window opens. So like if you're a new cruiser, you have a huge advantage being a wedding. You get to book your wedding activities a lot sooner.
Yeah.
Even being a first-time cruiser. So with that being said, you have to be paid in full before that date. So like 130 days would be more like the final payment date. Just keeping that in mind. But yes, you can make payments, and yes, you can use Disney gift cards. We get that question a lot.
All the time. Yes.
Just keep your gift cards, because if you have to cancel, it goes back to that same form of payment.
Yes. Do not throw those out. Okay, let's get into some of these questions, because these are looking like a lot of the FAQs that we get on weddings all the time. Yes. So I'm excited to hear it from your point of view.
So like Rebecca said, she threw the YouTube in the comments. We did a more in-depth wedding one that has a lot of questions here. If you guys post questions in the comments, we'll answer them. But that one goes into a lot of depth about like the packages, the upgrades and things, and even has one of my couples featured on there that talks through a few things. So what are the options for locations on a Disney, for weddings on a Disney cruise? And that depends on the ship you're on. So briefly, I'll run through them. The most popular, of course, is going to be the Atrium and Grand Hall and then Castaway. But there are some other onboard locations around the ship. So for example, on the Magic and Wonder, they have Deck 10 Aft Overlook. It's beautiful, especially for Alaska weddings. Gorgeous. Yeah. And then on the Dream, you can also use Meridian Patio. And they will do some in the larger adult spaces. So like on the Fantasy, you've got the Tube, you've got D Lounge. That's for really big wedding parties. On the Fantasy, you also have Outlook, but that is only going to be there until dry dock this fall. So if you have a Fantasy wedding before the Fantasy goes into dry dock this fall, you can get that Outlook location. I think it's max capacity of 30. But after the fall, that will officially no longer be a wedding venue, which is so sad. I just had a couple get married in the Outlook last fall, and their weddings photos are so pretty.
I know. I love that space so much. And I know that the Tower Suite is beautiful and blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, come on, Disney. Can't just add another funnel, add another tower. Come on.
So on the Wish, you have the Grand Hall. You also have Nightingales in the Bayou. But they're small spaces. So like Nightingale's max capacity is like 10, I think, for a wedding. Bayou's like 30 maybe. So really the ones that we're seeing the most are, going to be the Grand Hall or Castaway. The same as on the Treasure. You've got the Grand Hall. You've got Skipper Society, Scat Cat Lounge, but they're just really small spaces and lounges, which is the feedback we hear in the group just in general. It's going to be the same on the Destiny. So those are just a brief overview. Hi, Ezzy. Yes. A brief overview of the venues on the cruise. And of course, we can go in more detail about that when you reach out to me based on what you're looking for. So the pricing is different based on each venue. So that's kind of rolling us into the next question. How much does a Disney Cruise Line wedding cost? Well, the base pricing is going to be dependent on that ceremony location. So the Atrium and Grand Hall start at $5,000, and that's for 18 people, including the bride and groom. So the bride and groom, or 2 grooms, 2 brides, plus 16 guests. If you have over that 18, it's $20 per head after that. Castaway starts at $6,000. And then other onboard locations, so like the ones we mentioned, the Deck 10 Overlook on the Magic and Wonder, the Outlook on the Fantasy, maybe D Lounge, any of those are start at $4,000. One important tidbit about the other onboard locations, that will not be confirmed for you until 45 days before your wedding.
Ooh,
So
okay, yeah, that's right.
if you are very type A like me, that would never fly with me. The thought of not knowing where my wedding was going to be would send me into a spiral. So if you book the other onboard location, just know you can request, but you cannot guarantee. Whereas the Atrium and Grand Hall and Castaway are guaranteed locations. You book that location specifically, and it's not changed unless there's a big weather problem or you can't dock at Castaway, something like that.
Oh, good point. Good point.
Rolling into the next question, which days can you get married on a Disney cruise? So this depends on the location. Obviously, if you're getting married at Castaway, you can only get married on when the ship is stopping there.
Yes, great point.
If you're getting married in the Grand Hall, it has to be on a port day because there's so many activities going on the ship in the atrium or Grand Hall on sea days that they're not going to take that space away from all the other guests.
Mm-hmm.
So Atrium Grand Hall is on port day. So ours was on Jamaica Day. Other onboard locations can be on sea days. So my couple got married on a sea day. My most recent couple on the Fantasy and the Outlook got married on a sea day. And it was great for them and their wedding party. They didn't have to take time away from Lighthouse or Castaway. And yeah, it was a wonderful celebration.
Yes.
Okay, so this question is a struggle for me. Is it better to get married at Walt Disney World or on a Disney cruise?
I know.
This is totally subjective, you guys.
Yes.
Totally subjective. What is more economical is a completely easy question for me. So the most economical Disney fairy tale wedding is a Disney cruise. Alani and World weddings are high. Alani is lower, but World weddings, they can get really like up there. World and land, but they just pricey.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the cost. So one of the things about Disney World weddings versus Disney Cruise Line weddings is that Disney Fairy Tale Weddings is handling like everything for Disney World brides. Travel agents are pretty much hands off.
Interesting. Okay, good to know.
So not much we can do. I had a friend reach out about a Disney Fairy Tale wedding at Walt Disney World, and it was super, super high. I think so for our wedding, we had the 5,000 Grand Hall fee. We had 3 additional guests over the 18, so $60 there. We paid for food, some hot and cold hors d'oeuvres for the reception. We did the premium cake package. We did the premium bouquet. I had extra corsages. And then we did the premium bar package. So all of our additional costs on top of the $5,000 was $1,459.85. So all in for the actual like wedding portion, we were about $6,500.
Oh my gosh. And if you are planning a wedding right now, you know that is like unheard of for wedding costs. Ask me how I know.
It is super economical when you compare it to all of the costs of a wedding in your hometown, especially the food and beverage, because, you know, we fed people hors d'oeuvres and bar for an hour. I kind of wish we would have done the second hour, like another hour of reception and the second hour of bar, just because that first hour went so quick with the dances and the cake cutting and all the things. So one pro tip is I would reserve a second hour of the reception. And that included like the cleanup fee, I believe, additional bartenders and servers. I had 5 crystal Mickeys in my upgraded bouquet. I had a flower girl basket with petals. I had 4 corsages, 3 extra boutonnieres, and then the premium bar package, and then the food. So
Love it.
honestly,
Yeah,
that's not bad.
no, it's not at all. When you think about how much weddings cost, literally anywhere else at home, and especially compared to the parks, it can get very, very pricey very, very quickly. And if that's in your budget, then go for it. I love that for you. But this is a great way to get the vacation aspect, do it with all your friends and family, and it's an economical way to get married. And someone's asking what was included in the bar package.
So we did the premium bar package. So pretty much anything could go. Like you could order anything. So we had people ordering Long Island's, pina coladas. I always get a Ciroc colada.
Yeah.
Glasses of champagne. The kiddos had the Clouda.
Love that.
They had drinks of the day already pre-made and sat out. Let me see if I can pull up the actual menu. It's so when you are having a wedding, it actually tells you on the menu the different options and what's available.
Awesome. That was
like
the next
what
question.
You can choose on the, like it's all spelled out in Transit Nipples.
Amazing. Yeah, I know everybody wants to know everything they can ahead of time. So having that menu definitely helps with some of that stress. And I didn't even know there was a premium bar package option. So that's
so I pulled up the menu really quickly. So signature bar is $23 per guest. And you've got all the vodkas, whiskeys, tequilas, wines, beers. And then we did the premium bar, which had all of those options also, but there was like 2 brands each instead of 3 or 4. So the vodka was Absolute and Smirnoff opposed to Grey Goose.
Got it.
And like the tequila is different. The wines are different. The beers are different, but it's just not as many, but you can still get like any drink. It's just high, top shelf versus, the entry level liquors. There's also a premium wine and beer. So no liquors, just wine and beer, but it was $1.50 per guest difference. So we just did the premium bar because most of my people drink mixed drinks and not wine and beer. So you can also do non-alcoholic smoothies, or just a non-alcoholic like sodas. And then for hors d'oeuvres, there is a standard and a deluxe option. And in both, there's hot and cold hors d'oeuvres to choose from. The standard, you choose 5 options, 3 cold and 2 hot. And in the deluxe, you choose 3 cold and 2 hot. And the only thing that changes is like what is being offered. So you're still getting the same amount. You're just, the options are, going up in quality.
Good to know. And out of curiosity, I know you have some allergies in your family. Are there allergy-friendly options on these menus so that everybody can enjoy?
Yeah, you tell them if you have any allergies.
Awesome.
And then so they can, accommodate it.
Love that.
Yeah, that was super easy. Yeah. And then you can also choose different platters. There's seafood platters, there's chocolate covered strawberry platters, cookie tray, fruit platter, cheese and crackers. So there's platters or there's like the hors d'oeuvres.
Love that.
Our ceremony started at 1, the reception at like 1:45-ish. And so we just did the hors d'oeuvres. We didn't do platters because we had main dining. So it really held everybody over. My thought on it was we can't have the premium bar package and not be giving people snacks.
Yeah.
We can't be having people drink for an hour with no food. So that was important to me to have some food available for the guests to snack on while they're drinking for an hour.
Absolutely. I was going to say, otherwise I'd be running up and coming back down with a plate of chicken tenders and everyone would be like, where'd you get those?
Yeah.
And someone's asking, Danny's asking, did you have a guest list dress code? So I guess, did you just have a dress code for your guests, or did they wear what they wanted?
I did. I told them wedding attire. So I didn't say specifically black tie, but my family just kind of knew. My friends and family were on it.
Yeah, I know that people think cruise, they think vacation, but it is all right to ask your people who are joining you to kind of, if you want everybody in Tommy Bahama shirts and shorts, then that is your perfect wedding. I love that for you. But if you want them to dress up a little bit, it's okay. They've got enough room in the suitcase for one more outfit.
Yes, I actually had a couple get married on a Halloween cruise. Like that was actually over Halloween, and everybody
Ooh,
wore costumes.
so fun. Oh,
That
I
is
love
super fun.
that.
But yeah, we
Oh,
just did regular like wedding attire, so all the women wearing dresses pretty much. Um,
wow.
yeah.
And then what's the difference in cost inclusions for wedding versus vow renewal?
This is a good one. I think people are always so confused about this and intrigued by it. The
Yeah.
options versus are the exact same. They treat it the exact same. The only thing that changes is your actual ceremony and what the officiant is saying. So our officiant, like we did not exchange rings. We just kept our rings on the whole time. And we read our own vows. And the officiant had, her own like dialogue. She was a guest services manager, and it was phenomenal. I was actually going
Ooh.
to write to guest services because I wish I would have asked her, but I didn't, and ask for a copy of what she read because like it was so good, so sweet. Like she did an
Oh,
amazing job.
that's
That was
awesome.
one part I was actually stressed about, and I could not have been happier about it.
Yeah. Was it specifically for the vow renewal, or do you think it would have been the same verbiage for a wedding as well?
No, it was definitely specific to a renewal.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, and
Oh,
I
that
was
makes me so
really worried
happy.
about this. Like I don't need to do the wedding over again. Like I don't need the same, verbiage.
Yeah,
It was perfect. It was so good. She did such a good job.
I
The
love
whole
that.
time she was like reading, I was like blown away.
Oh,
Because
that's
I didn't get to
awesome.
meet her before. I didn't get to ask what she was gonna say. Like there was no
Yeah.
preparation. So that was probably one of the only things that I was really like type A nervous and afraid about.
Yes. You're like, please don't mess this up. Please do a good job.
Yeah, so I was gonna email to the shoreside coordinators and ask them like, are they given a set thing to say for renewals? Or
Mhm.
like, did she just have this? Because if this is what she had, I want a copy of that.
Yeah.
Those were
Yeah.
really good.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Well, definitely let us
My
know what
photographer
you
even
do.
commented on how good it was
That's
because her
awesome.
husband officiates weddings.
Oh, so cool. That's how you know it's good.
Yes.
And then I know we've talked a little bit about the customizations that you made, but what other customizations can you make for the ceremony and reception?
Yeah, so the included customizations are music selection for the ceremony and reception, the different classic cake flavors, the different classic cake fillings, and then your florals. There's some options to choose from between the bouquets, um, different classic looks for the cakes, and then going into the premium customizations, um, there's a whole another selection of cake flavors, cake fillings, presentation of the cake that you can upgrade to. So we did that. We upgraded to the premium cake for the presentation, not for the flavors or fillings. And then we upgraded bouquets or my bouquet. So there are two selections, the classic inclusions, and there's about 3 or 4 that you can choose from, and then the premium level that you can choose more. So the upgrade for the cake was $200, I believe,
Okay.
which is not terrible. It was a much like better presentation, I thought. It was just more what I was looking for. And the bouquet upgrade was no, the cake upgrade was only $100. I'm sorry, $100 for the
Okay.
cake upgrade,
That's
$200 for the
awesome.
bouquet upgrade. Both
Wow. Okay.
very reasonable,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Someone's asking,
So
did you get to keep your bouquet? What about the crystal Mickeys you talked about? Can you keep those?
Crystal Mickey's, yes. Bouquet, no.
Mhm.
Um, I actually shed real tears over this.
Oh,
I have never really been one to be attached to flowers, but I could not get over how pretty my bouquet was and heavy. It was so heavy. Like when we were
oh,
walking around taking pictures afterwards, I'm like, this is so heavy. We got to keep it in the room. We got married on Wednesday of a Saturday to Saturday cruise. So we got to keep it in the room. And then also the little extra flowers that they had put on the cake table. They brought those up to our room also, but we did not get to take our bouquet home. I had tried to give it to our server because him and his wife are both servers and share a room on board, and they would not let him take it to his room either.
Oh man.
I just wanted him to get like a couple more. It was still so pretty.
Yeah.
But no, they throw it away.
Poor flowers.
And
I know.
then for the cake, you also cannot take that with you, but we got to take some. They brought it to our room for us, and then I took it down to dinner on our last night, and we ate some more of it. My grandmothers took some to their room and ate some of it. All those things. Yeah.
Love that.
And then somebody always asks about this because Disney Cruise Line is killing me and keeps it on the premium customization on the worksheet, but character appearances are not available anymore for weddings. They were pre-COVID. It has not come back since COVID, and they have not taken it off the dang worksheet in the last 5 years either. Why? I don't know. Because
oh gosh, come on, Disney.
Yes. It would be so cool if Mickey or Minnie or Goofy or whoever you choose would come to the reception, because I totally would have paid for it, but that is not a thing anymore, and I wish they'd just take it off the worksheet.
Oh my gosh, you guys just need to wear your outfits all day and stand in line for characters.
Yes.
That would be amazing.
So another premium customization would be photography. Photography is not included in the wedding. You get the photographer, but none of the photos unless you're paying for it. You can also buy an extra hour of photography. We opted to bring our own photographer, and there's a question of how much does it cost to bring your own photographer, and this is totally going to depend on who you bring, what your sailing is. So I can't really speak to how much it's going to cost you, but it is standard to pay for their travel expenses on top of their, photos, their work. So look at what their, wedding packages cost, and then what a stateroom for them would cost. But it's going to be photographer dependent. My photographer is Orlando based. She has shot many of my brides' weddings on the cruises. She has shot weddings in the parks at both Universal and Disney World. She is phenomenal. One thing that's great about having an Orlando-based photographer, especially for cruise line weddings, is you're not paying for flights for them or hotels for them. It's just the cruise and then their services. Yes. So she is wonderful. She was actually on the last video that we did that Rebecca had shared. I think we did that in September or October. We did a Disney Cruise Line wedding video, so you can watch that replay. But I think it is worth its weight in gold to bring your own photographer. And I'm going to step onto a soapbox here, so please forgive me. But this is how important I think it is. Your wedding day is going to go by in a blur. And the only thing you're going to have left of it is your memories. And so many of those memories come from the photos. Mm-hmm. And yes, you can get those photos from the ship's photographers. But what you can't get from the ship's photographer is any pre-arrival meeting. You can't see their portfolio. You can't get to know their personality. You don't get any of the details in getting ready photos. They only shoot the wedding and the photos afterwards. Like the family photos and stuff, but they're not going to the salon with you while you're getting ready. They're not going to the barbery with your, spouse while he's getting ready. They're not taking your dress around the ship to get detail shots of it. They're not doing any of this stuff. And that was a deal breaker for me. Our photographer, Candy, Magical Pics by Candy, she is a gem. She shot photos for us from 8 a.m. until 6 p.m.
Wow, that's awesome.
Long. She started at 8 a.m. in Hooks Barbary with Jared and our son. Then she popped over to Untangled for me, my mom, and our daughter. Then she was doing getting ready photos of Jared in his room, getting ready, or not in his room, he was in my brother's room and I think his mom's room. And then she was in our room doing getting ready photos of me. She was doing photos of me giving a gift to my dad and to my mom, of the letter I wrote Jared and the gifts I gave him. She got pictures of that. She took the bouquet and the dress and the shoes and the accessories all around the ship, getting all of those detailed photos. And then She shot the wedding. She did the reception photos. And then, so we were done around 2:45. She took us around the ship until 6 o'clock taking more photos.
That's awesome.
We're going to have hundreds of photos. I begged her for like 10 sneak peeks to put on these slides.
Yeah.
And thank God she loves me, because that was asking a lot of her, I know. But we're going to have hundreds of photos. And one thing about DCL is that if you're not buying the USB with all of the photos, you've got to stand there and pick your photos that you want before you leave the ship.
Yeah, and standing in front and swiping, like it's such a big decision to make. And as you're swiping through however many pictures, it's just so much easier to have full access,
right.
and like some control over it.
If there's so this is a silly little mishap. My mom had like one crazy wrinkle on her dress, and she went to iron it in the laundry room because she didn't have it steamed, and something was on the bottom of the iron and it singed her dress. No. Luckily, my friends were able to like safety pin it to where you couldn't see it because her dress kind of like draped. But in the Candy, if there's any visible spot of that, she's like, don't worry about it. Like, that's the easiest edit for me to do. Guess what the ship's photographer is not going to do? They're not going to edit the stain out of your mom's dress.
Yeah. I was going to say, it's on to the next one. And as much as we love the photographers on board and they're great, it's such a big day that, you're saving when you look at it. I know weddings are expensive. Trust me, I know. But you are, and compared to getting married at home or, getting married at the parks, you're going to be saving. So this is where I would probably agree. I would definitely agree with Hunter, and I would splurge and bring your own photographer, bring somebody you trust, somebody who's done your engagement shots, and who can really be there for you on this cruise rather than it just being a part of their day.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure our day would have fallen apart without Candy. Like, she had everybody on a schedule. She was like,
love that. Yes, so good.
She's great.
So good.
And then for her, like, her husband was her second shooter. So, like, doing all the light things, all the things, carrying, like, he was pulling an entire rolling suitcase behind him, like changing out our lenses and holding my things and fixing my dress and all of those things. I think bringing your own photographer is like without question. Yeah. Like it's priceless. If you can make it happen, there is no way that I would not do everything like to make it happen. The ship's photographers, at the end of the day, they're really portrait photographers. While there may be, a dime a dozen that have a creative eye, they are not wedding photographers. And shooting weddings is on a whole nother level than taking portraits of your kids with Mickey or your family in front of a screen every night before dinner.
Yes. Worth it to consider. And, again, as you're building out your vacation, right? This is where Hunter can really come in and help, because she can say, this is what you're looking at for your cruise. Maybe your family wants to do a huge excursion together. I know, Hunter, your family did a private excursion, and she can put the pieces to this massive puzzle together and say, looking at your overall wedding budget, do we have the ability to add in, Candy and her husband to come in and do this for you, so that you have hundreds upon hundreds of pictures to choose from, and it's pictures that are quality and ahead of time and you like. Again, any cruise, any vacation is a puzzle, but when you add in this wedding aspect, you want to make sure that you're getting memories out of it, because it goes so fast.
Yes, we also have a preferred videographer, and if you book with me and book Candy or the videographer for your photography services, they also offer a discount of their services
awesome.
When you're working with me. So something to keep in mind, and this kind of like goes into one of the questions, I'm going to jump here for a second, is can I bring my own vendors? And yes, you can bring your own hairstylist, you can bring your own makeup artist, you can bring your own photographer, but you can't really bring your own decor and stuff like that. Certain little things you can, but you can't bring in like somebody outside to like decorate the whole thing up. So I had my hair done in the salon. So did my mom, my daughter, but I did my own makeup. But we have had very large wedding parties where they did bring somebody to do their hair and makeup in the room, and that's totally okay. So we did the customizations of the ceremony and reception. I chose to have a pianist for both the ceremony and reception. It was great. I submitted my songs, and then once we were done with those songs, like during the reception, he just kind of played some Disney songs and whatever. So that was really nice. Are there any special perks or additional services for the couple? So one that we kind of already highlighted on is that you get to book your things in advance. One little pro tip also is that they do hold a cabana specific for the weddings on board that you can book. You would have to do it through me and the wedding coordinator, but they do hold one cabana back to see if the wedding party wants it.
Wow. Okay. Good to know.
Yes.
If you want a cabana, and if you're like, what the heck is a cabana? I need to know more. Reach out to Hunter. She can talk to you all about the perks of either the family beach cabanas or the adult only cabanas.
Yes, we had two side by side cabanas for our group on Castaway, and it was amazing. It was so much fun to have everybody right there on a little section of the beach. It was great.
That's so fun. And someone's asking if you can bring your own officiant, or does it have to be a member of the crew?
You can bring your own officiant. They do count towards your guest count, but a lot of our couples do bring their own officiant.
Love that.
But if you don't have one, you can just use one on the ship.
Yes.
And I haven't had anybody complain about their officiant from the ship.
Yeah, I haven't heard that either. Yes.
Are these weddings legally binding or symbolic? All Disney Cruise Line weddings are symbolic.
Yes.
You get a cute little ceremony certificate. Let me grab it. So you get this little certificate, and you can't really see it, but it's shimmery and it's beautiful. And then another perk, I kind of skipped over that part, is they will schedule Palo for you. You get Palo included. You get $100 onboard credit. You get your outfits steamed for the couple. You get a free photo, like an 8x10 photo. You still get the
cake server thingy?
Yes.
Okay.
Speaking of, I don't know if mine came home with me.
Uh-oh. You have to go on another cruise then to get it back.
I'm trying to think what other. That's pretty much what you get for the perks. And you get priority boarding. So you're boarding group 1.
Love that. And is it your whole party, or is it just
It's just your stateroom.
Just your stateroom. Good to know.
Yes. Another question, how far in advance should I plan? You should plan as far out as you can. But of course, we have last minute weddings happen, but it's all subject to the availability of the ship and the sailings. So they only host one Grand Hall wedding and one Castaway wedding, or atrium, I should say, Grand Hall or atrium or Castaway per sailing. So you're not going to have 2 Grand Hall weddings in the same sailing on different days like that. It's only one. So the further out you can book, the better. And I feel like a lot of times couples do know when they want to plan their wedding, and that's typically not an issue. Let's say you're 2 years out now, you're looking at 2027, get a hold of me and get on the list so that I know you want to book right when those itineraries come out.
Yes, because if we know anything from the last week, people on hold, or was it 2 weeks ago now? People were on hold for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours when those itineraries drop. And if you have your heart set on the Grand Hall or the atrium on a ship, you're going to want to be first in line. And remind us again, you book the stateroom, you book the cruise, and then you add on the wedding, right?
Yeah, we can do it all in one phone call.
Beautiful.
But you have to have a stateroom booking before they can add a wedding to it. Yeah, so we could we can put it on hold. You don't even have to pay the deposit. We can put it on hold and then add the ceremony. You can pay the deposit all together.
Love that. Yeah, it gives you that flexibility, but it's all in one, which is so nice. And someone's asking, I joined late. Can you remind me where you got married again and where was the reception?
So the wedding was on the Treasure in the Grand Hall, and the reception was in Skipper Society, which is right behind the Grand Hall, and it was great.
Yes, I was gonna
Skipper
say
Society and Bayou on the Wish are both such pretty venues.
Yes. And I know people, if you've been on the ships before, you can kind of walk right by. Was there any issue with like sound from people walking by or people like wanting to come into the space when you guys had it designated for that hour? Like, were you dealing with any other cruisers or did they do a good job of kind of keeping people out?
So Disney does a really good job with it. So there were definitely people like in the Grand Hall watching from decks 4 and 5. So my dad and I walked down. Well, we came up to like the Grand Hall where that kind of looks out over on deck 4. We did a little turn, walked down the staircase, and they had like 2 guest services people like holding people so nobody could walk into that area.
Awesome.
Then they blocked the staircase during the reception. They also had the atrium or the Grand Hall like area roped off so nobody could get onto that carpeted area in front of the stage or the staircase. And then same for Skipper Society. They had both sides roped off. Nobody could come in. And there was at least 2 guest services people out there at all times, like in their dress whites, like making sure nobody intruded. They even held the Grand Hall for us a little bit afterwards for us to take photos.
Awesome.
We did like staircase photos, stage photos, and they held people back for that.
That's awesome. I love to hear that. And this is a great question from Sandy. Big Disney World goer. Haven't gone on a cruise before. It looks great. Wondering if it would be a mistake to just do my first cruise out of a wedding. Should I go on before?
That's totally up to you. I've had several couples do a Disney Cruise Line wedding as their first cruise.
Really? Oh, that's interesting.
It actually blows my mind every time it happens. But I think I had 3 couples last year in 2024 that it was their first cruise ever and their wedding cruise. I've had minor complaints about, motion sickness, but they all said like it was amazing,
Yeah.
And actually 2 of the 3 couples have already booked another cruise. So
love that. I was going to say they're so highly addictive if we are not proof of that enough. And some people asking about cost. We did talk about cost already. So definitely go back, and we have that other video. I'm going to get this in the comments for everybody again. That just goes through in depth all of the FAQs. Sam is asking, was it worth it? Would you do it again?
Absolutely. I would do it again. I secretly am hoping that my kids do it too.
Oh, I love that.
It was so worth it. Like it ended up being like everything that I wanted it to be. I would 100% do it again. My family definitely like enjoyed the ceremony part. The only thing that I would have changed about it is because there were so many of us and so many family, like especially the ones that hadn't cruised before, I would have done it shorter. Like I'm not sure choosing 7 nights with 21 like people, several who hadn't cruised before, and maybe don't particularly love Disney the way we do. Not sure throwing them in for 7 nights was the right choice, but you were not changing my mind on having it on the treasure. Like,
yes. I was going to say, somebody did ask Wish versus Treasure. That's tough.
I think I would have to ask you more questions about you and what you like to answer that question.
Yes, yeah.
The treasure is more my personality than the wishes.
Yes, and especially with the Destiny coming out too, like there's so many great places to get married on a Disney cruise. You can't go wrong. It's all going to be magical. It's all going to be great service.
Yeah, the only thing that I would have changed, which I couldn't because it was out of my control, was the itinerary, the stops, and the length. Like if I could have created my own perfect cruise, I would have went only to Castaway and Lighthouse, Lookout, and it would have been like 4, maybe 5 nights, but still on the treasure.
Yes, maybe one day, and then you guys can get married again or do your vow renewal again.
Yeah, my dad's like, okay, so we're gonna do this again in 10 years.
Yes.
And I was like, no.
Oh, I would love that for you. And someone's asking, how was the weather in February?
We had fantastic weather. The absolutely only complaint that I could even come up with is the evening of the wedding. It was so dang windy. So a lot of the outside pictures that I wanted, we did not get great shots of them. we got them, but my hair is like out of control. Like this one's mild. There was a promenade shot that I wanted, and the promenade was actually roped off because it was so windy and we were still in port, and I might have went under the rope to get this picture, and
No, not it. Oh man.
so
I don't know.
that was literally my only complaint. But so we did Western Caribbean, and every single day we had at sea and in port was 80 plus degrees. It was
Oh
a
my
beautiful sailing, and we
That's so
were
nice.
February 8th to the 15th.
That's awesome. Yeah, I
With
know
that being
this time.
said, I've been there I've been on sailings that exact same week and not had that weather. So for what it's worth.
Yeah, see, we can now control Mother Nature, but we can do everything that we can to control things ahead of time. And I know I just had to get to the shot. The shot is breathtaking. It's so, so pretty. And if you were hesitant about getting your own photographer, let this be proof, please. This shot is gorgeous. Oh,
Yeah. So real quick before we wrap up, I do want to kind of run through the flow of like what it was like with the wedding coordinators.
yeah.
So again, we booked as soon as we could, literally back in September 23, I think, when these itineraries dropped. Like opening day, this was actually not the date or itinerary that we even wanted. But we wanted one a couple weeks before, and they weren't doing it because we ended up being the first ceremony that they allowed as far as the date wise. And they were able to tell me that on the phone. So I scooped it up. Once you're booked, within a couple days, you do get like a welcome email from the shoreside coordinator. If you're booked with me, I'll be copied in it. And it basically just says, congratulations, here's a workbook that you need to fill out and return by 60 days before. And then you have this workbook to complete, and it's all about the customizations. You have to put in your guest list, and these are things that I will do for you or with you on a Zoom. I'll put all your guest information in. That's kind of tedious so that you don't have to do it. And then 45 days before, they're like, hey, send me that worksheet. And you're like, okay, here it is. And if you ask for a premium bar service or hors d'oeuvres, they send you the menu. If you have upgrades, they send you an invoice and they collect your fee for the additional things. Then here comes wedding day. You get wedding cruise. You have priority boarding. When you get to the port, they will give you a little card. We actually got ours when we tacked on, like right before the gangway to walk on the ship. When they do that tap to get you on board, that's when they handed us our card, and it said, meet with your wedding coordinator, Kathleen, at 3 p.m. at guest services. We met with her. She went through our guest list to confirm that was still accurate. She took the names of who would be getting the additional florals, the corsages, the boutonnieres. She confirmed like the wedding songs. And then since we were in the grand hall, you have two options on the wish and treasure. Do you want your wedding facing the staircase, or do you want your wedding facing the stage? I chose the staircase. I've had brides choose the stage, so I have pictures of both to kind of show you to compare. They ask you like how many chairs do you want on each side of the aisle. They asked me if I wanted to come down the stairs and go straight to the front, or if I wanted to walk to the back and actually walk up the aisle. What other things? She told us when to put our dresses, like my dress and the suit out, to come collect for laundry to be steamed. And then she asked where we wanted them delivered with the florals. So we had all of my stuff delivered to my photographer's stateroom so that she would have it to go do photos. And then also so Jared wouldn't see it. And then Jared and the kids' stuff was just delivered to the stateroom.
Got it. Good to know.
And then she told us what time the guests would arrive in the atrium. So they had the guests get down there at 12:40 for a 1 o'clock ceremony. She handled sending all the cards to their room. They got little cards. This might be it. Like this on their fish extender, like hook kind of thing outside the room, and just told them when and where to be on wedding day. So they take care of that for you. And that was pretty much it. She was like, I'll see you Wednesday.
Yeah. Oh, easy. I mean,
Yep.
And I feel like having that context of the different pictures, right? You've dealt with couples who have gotten married on the different ships in the different locations. And if you're just sitting there for the first time, you're like, I have no idea what's the difference between the stage and the stairs and how many chairs and which way. Like having somebody like Hunter who has one done it herself, but two has had so many couples that she's helped do it. It just, again, helps take that pressure and stress off of you so that you know going into it exactly all the answers because you've been prepared for it. This is an awesome question from Marcy, and I don't think we've talked about this one before. My family is very traditional. If we wanted to be in different staterooms beforehand, how would you recommend booking that? We would want to sleep in the same room on our wedding night, though. I would say probably reach out to Hunter is a good place to start.
Yeah.
To coordinate.
Yeah, so that's actually not a bump that's too hard to navigate. Disney doesn't police who sleeps in what room. So it's really a booking logistical thing. And then you can change it out on board with, getting a new key card and stuff. That's really a non-issue. It's just something that we just have to tell you the process.
Love that.
Totally doable though.
Yes. I was gonna say we can make your wedding dreams come true on a Disney cruise. Easy peasy.
I see a couple more questions here. Yeah. Somebody said that these slide decks would be available. I will post in the Disney Cruise Line group before I walk away from my computer the slide deck for this one, as well as the slide deck and YouTube for the really the Disney Cruise Line wedding 101, where we go into way more detail about the personalization of your actual wedding and reception. And then another one is for your clients getting married on the cruise, do you travel with them to ensure everything is planned? Everything planned goes accordingly, since it sounds like the onboard coordinators have much less involvement. That is up to my couples. If my couples want me to sail with them, that is something we discuss one-on-one.
Yes. Hunter is here for you however you need her. So I would definitely recommend reaching out, schedule some time. You guys see how knowledgeable she is. You see how passionate she is about Disney Cruise Line. When she says that this is her favorite vacation, she means it. She loves it. So get in touch with her. Let her help you plan not only this amazing vacation, but your amazing perfect day, whether it's a vow renewal or your wedding or baby announcement. I mean, you can do just about anything on a Disney cruise, and there are ways to celebrate. But this is so exciting. Hunter, anything else that you want to add?
I could add so much. One thing is make sure you join our Disney Cruise Line wedding planning group. I definitely post a lot of our couples photos in there. Gives you a little inspiration, something to hold you over until it's your turn. And then also answer questions in there. And it's just a lot of wedding focused stuff. But for the nitty gritty detailed questions, I just want to reiterate to look at that 101 video that I will be posting in the group and that she posted in the comments.
Yes, definitely. Make sure you're part of the Disney Cruise Line Facebook group, and then Hunter's wedding specific Facebook group. And then, as always, the best place to get started is to reach out to Hunter, schedule some time, and let her help you plan that perfect Disney Cruise Line vacation. As a reminder, her planning services are free for you to utilize. They're included in the cost of your cruise. So let her help figure out all of the wedding details, yes, but then also all of Grandma's questions and Aunt Betty's questions and everybody else in between. She is here to help so that you can just focus on having the best wedding at sea or at Castaway. Hunter, thank you so much for hanging out with us, and we will see all y'all on board real soon. Bye, guys.